So there is a lot of behind the scenes that, people may like the idea or say, oh, as we were saying about perception. Oh, yes, she's the ice cream lady. Like, oh, how nice. This is your nice little job. You're serving a SpongeBob or you're serving a strawberry shortcake. That's the easy part.
Right.
The hard part is, doing all the behind the scenes. And, there's a lot of grit that goes into it. And people may want the idea of starting a company.
Right.
But there's so much that goes into it.
Right.
That people underestimate.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Finding the Upside. So happy you chose to join today. I'm here in the studio with another episode of One Tough Chick, and I have an amazing guest. I'm so happy she is with me today. I am going to introduce her briefly, and then we're going to ask her to share. So her name is Lisa Emeric, and she is the Sweet Ice Queen. She runs a local business here in New Jersey, driving her truck all over New Jersey, serving ice cream, bringing smiles to corporates, clients, as well as personal parties, weddings. But she has an amazing story that I want to bring out in today's interview. So I'd like to introduce her first. Lisa Emeric, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Maria. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm the owner of Sweet Ice Queen, and I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you for joining me. So before we get into some of the questions for One Tough Chick, I ask a series of questions to really understand in this series female entrepreneurs, your journey to entrepreneurship, all of the things that you went through becoming a female boss. And what I love about most of the women that I have on this podcast for this series is you as well, they all have had multiple steps in their journey that led them to then creating a business. So I know that you had started out in corporate,
Yes.
and then you stayed home with your children for a bit, and then started the Sweet Ice Queen with ice cream. Can you share just a little bit of background of that story and what led you to start the business and how you brought everything that you learned along the way into that?
Yes. So I went to college. I had a degree in public health, patient education. And when I graduated, I got into the field of social work, which I loved helping people. I still do. And I was in the field of social work for a few years. And then I went into corporate America. I was in human resources for a company for about 10 years. And then I went into consulting. I got married. And, I have two boys who are now, I have a son that's a sophomore in college, and I have a senior at Wayne Hills. And I stayed at home for 13 years. And once they got to the age where I was like, all right, I'm ready to get back into the workforce. I was like, what am I marketable for? And I've been out of the workforce for so many years. What was really, going to have a nice balance that I could still be able to get my kids to and from school, to and from their activities. My husband travels a lot for business. So, something that really made sense, for our family.
Yeah.
And, I was sitting on my back deck, and I grew up in Garfield, and I remember the ice cream truck always coming.
Yes, I have those memories as well.
Yes. My son, particularly Thomas, is a huge ice cream lover. And when we go and visit my mom and my mother-in-law, the ice cream truck always comes.
Love it.
So the town that we live in is very large. And he said to me, Mom, how come the ice cream truck never comes in our neighborhood? And it was like an aha moment for me. And I was like, you know what? You're right. It doesn't. And then my wheels started churning. And then I said, you're right. The ice cream truck doesn't come. Why doesn't it come? Well, times have changed.
Yes.
summertime growing up by us.
Yeah.
It was whoever was on your street.
Yep.
That was your summer camp.
Everybody was out and about.
Everyone was out and
Mhm.
about. 6 o'clock every day, the ice cream truck came,
Yep.
and if you were lucky enough that your parents had, a little extra money,
Mhm.
you were able to take advantage of
Yeah.
getting an ice cream,
Yeah.
and it always brought joy
Mhm.
and happiness. And I just always, saw my son's reaction even when he heard the ice cream bell.
Mhm.
So I thought about it, and it just gained velocity. Um, my husband came home from work,
Mhm.
and I said, I think I'm gonna start an ice cream truck. And he said, "You're out of your
I was
mind."
gonna say, what was his
Yeah,
reaction?
my husband.
Mhm.
My husband is a great guy. But I've had a lot of ideas over a lot of ideas over the course of our time together.
Mhm.
And he goes, "Lisa, what do you mean?" I said, "No, I think I'm gonna start an ice cream truck."
Love it.
And he didn't take me seriously. So then I started researching at night, and I just started researching the market. I started researching the trucks. Well, there are no ice cream trucks
Mhm.
that really are readily available. And if
Mhm.
they are, food trucks are very hot.
Mhm.
That whole industry,
Mhm.
I didn't realize until, starting to do research.
Mhm.
Um, Vans in itself, a lot of people are, buying vans, converting them
Mm.
into these major campers,
Mhm.
or they're converting them into these major high-end food trucks.
Mhm.
So they were really hard to find.
Mm.
So again, I've been out of the workforce for 13 years.
Yeah.
I haven't had any liquid income.
Yeah.
And we really were just making ends meet.
Yeah.
So I had to put together a business
A business
proposal.
plan
Yes, a business proposal for my husband.
so that he could fund it.
Yes.
Okay, very interesting. Good.
Yes, because I had to sell him on the idea,
Yep. Understood.
because we're using money that
Yes.
we need.
Yes.
My husband comes home from work. I got dressed in my corporate attire that I had to dust off
And you made
in
a
the
pitch?
closet, and I made a pitch.
Oh, wow.
My husband came home, and I said to him, my husband's name is Enrique. I said, we have a meeting. And he said, at the kids' school? I don't have it on my calendar because he has everything on his calendar. He's a type A personality.
Mhm.
And I said, no, you have it with me. And he looked at me, and I made him sit down, and I told him I need $20,000. And I presented to him my business proposal. He says, well, Lisa, we really don't have an extra $20,000 for
Mhm.
you to go and get an ice cream truck.
So how did that
And
turn out?
I just kept on selling him. And then finally I told him, you just need to give me a chance, and just give me a chance. I know that this could be something that I could balance the family, and I know that this could be profitable.
Yeah. Wow. So there's so much goodness in there that I want to extract and unpack, because I think that your position and your journey is one that's very similar for a lot of women that get married and are out of the workforce and then have the choice of, okay, how do I make my way back in? Right. And then what you also touched on is the flexibility, right?
Correct.
Having a position that allows that. And I think, our society is still struggling with that. The system is broken for that, because for women to be able to have a family and have an income to contribute, it's very challenging in the corporate world to find that. And although some things are changing now, hopefully, where the demand is people want flexibility, so the corporate world has to adjust in some way, I think that's why a lot of people choose entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
And you also, what you mentioned about the hesitancy and the barriers that you face, not only convincing your husband that you wanted to do it, but also, or that you could do it, but also the barrier to the capital to start it. And and what some of the questions that I want to ask about that later on are to bring that out is that's sometimes the block for people to be able to start a business. Is,
Absolutely.
how do I start it? Right. And then gaining support from your spouse or your family or whomever. So, you know, a lot of those things are common barriers that people face. And I like when people share that because it makes people understand that there's a way. Women, there's a way. And what I love about so first off, just so people know, she doesn't just have an ice cream truck. She's a brand, okay? The Sweet Ice Queen is a brand. And you've built that, and it's a whole persona, which I love. And it shows that you had the belief and the drive that this was something that you could do, you wanted to do, and you could do. And it shows in you even telling that story. So I think, what would you say to people that have some kind of idea and dream and face those same or similar barriers that you did?
Well, even, going back to, just being out of the workforce for
Yeah.
13 years, I was looking for jobs, and I
Hmm.
was looking for jobs, and I would, apply for jobs, and they were entry level jobs.
Yep.
And I knew that I had more experience, and I I knew that I had more to give, but I also knew that there was such a gap
Yeah.
in how long I was out of the
Yeah.
workforce
Yeah.
that I was, I would go back to my husband and say, "Oh, I have this interview." And he would look and he said, "Lisa, like those are entry level positions. You were a director somewhere. Like that's not worth it for you." But then those other spots, were,
Beyond.
beyond, and I wouldn't be able to still have a work life situation for my
Correct.
kids. So,
Yeah.
so that's what, going back to that gap.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, well, I have so much experience in both social work and in corporate America. How can I blend those two
I
together?
love that.
Um, and, with the capital, you know, w- we were just making it by me staying home.
Hmm.
We said, all right, let's take it year by year.
Yeah.
Like I was coupon cutting,
Yeah.
I was making things stretch.
Yeah.
So to even say, okay, like I need this $20,000, I knew it was a stretch
Yeah.
because my kids were still younger.
Hmm.
Um, so I felt a lot of pressure even asking, like, because I knew that it was a risk.
Yeah.
And my husband and I were not very risky people.
Yeah.
We're really not. We're
Yeah.
very conservative people.
Yeah.
Um, so when I was researching, a used
Trucks.
truck was $10,000.
Yeah.
So I knew I at least needed $10,000.
Mhm.
And that was a truck that sight unseen, had over 100,000 miles on it. And I know
Mhm.
nothing about, Chevy step vans.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to sell my husband on the whole
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
And finally, after selling him, I knew that he believed in me because how I was raised.
Hmm.
I have my father, who is a huge anchor to this day
Hmm.
in me. I have an older brother and myself, and my father has treated us the same since we were young.
Hmm.
He's a no excuse person.
Mhm.
He made me mow the lawn just
Hmm.
as well as he made my brother mow the lawn.
Hmm.
I was carrying the lawnmower up and down the stairs since I was 8 years old.
Hmm.
Um, he made us work every single day, and you were not allowed to make any excuse.
Yeah.
So I was raised a tomboy.
Yeah.
I wrestled.
Wow.
My father's very big in the wrestling community, wrestling, high school wrestling. He used to make me wrestle with my brother. My father used to, make me play baseball, softball. So I was a tomboy. The reason why I have long hair is because my dad always made me have short hair like my brother.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So that's why I have long hair. So he made me have guts and grit.
And you think though all those things he put you through
Absolutely.
was what built that. I love that. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
He to this day, my father always pushes me, um, himself and my kids. No excuses. Nobody wants to hear them. Just get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have that in me,
Yeah.
and my husband knows that.
Yeah.
I will be riding the lawnmower or pushing the lawnmower in a dress, but I will get it done. If there is something to be moved, my husband knows that I will not wait for him, that I will move the furniture on my
Right,
own.
right.
I have that in me, that I'm not afraid to get dirty. I will get things done.
It sounds like that has definitely
Absolutely.
contributed to your
I absolutely.
path.
So he knows that I'm not afraid to get sweaty
Yeah.
and work hard
Yeah.
to get something done. And then I have my mom's side. My
Mhm.
mom is a nurturer. My
Mhm.
mom is compassionate. My mom
Mhm.
is extremely caring.
Mhm.
She's a giver. So that's where I pick up the social work side.
Yeah.
So I have those two things, that make me like, I think the best of both
The
worlds.
combination.
Yes.
How do you bring those two sides, as you said, to the Sweet Ice Queen and what you do? And I know some of the activities that you do and the places you go and just the spirit that you bring to each event that you do. But just talk to me about how you bring those two sides together.
Well, when I was coming up with a whole like business plan, um, I really, going back to what you said about how unique my trucks are. My trucks are pink,
Hmm.
and
We're going to share a picture so
yes,
people can
my
see.
trucks are pink, and I said to myself, how am I going to differentiate myself?
Hmm.
How am I going to be different?
Hmm.
Like we were saying, to go locally.
Hmm.
Kids aren't really out anymore.
Yeah.
Summertime, there's a lot of summer camps going
Yep.
on, sleepaway camps,
Yep.
everyone's involved in activities.
And I think that's probably what you found why there was no ice
Absolutely.
cream truck because nobody's
So
there.
nobody's really there
Yeah.
anymore. Everyone's involved,
Hmm.
in something. So I took a look back. I'm like, all right, I have to differentiate myself. I need an edge. Well, going back to my corporate America days, I said, let me go the corporate route.
Hmm.
And with my whole philosophy on the trucks, when I hire someone, what are my expectations? Whether I'm paying, very minimal,
Hmm.
or if I'm splurging,
Hmm.
what are my expectations? Well, I want good service.
Yeah.
And that's wherever I frequent. I want good service. I want someone friendly. I want someone that, the facility is clean, that they're greeting me with a smile. They're getting back to me promptly. They're communicating with me.
Hmm.
So when I was researching, the whole business, which I did see that it's very large, spectrum of ice cream trucks and,
Hmm.
food trucks,
Hmm.
dessert trucks. I started researching like, the cost point and everything. Well, what I was amazed about was no one was getting back to me
Mm.
when I was inquiring on, some price points and quotes.
Mm.
So I
Oh,
knew,
like you were just trying to inquire to hire someone to do your
yes,
research. Ah,
just,
okay.
right. So I said, wow, all I need to do
Mhm.
out of the gate is respond to people and in a timely manner. With the way um, social media is today,
Mhm.
with the way electronics are,
Mhm.
you have everything at your hands.
Yes. At your
Email,
fingertips. Yeah.
social media, everything. There's no reason, in my opinion, that you cannot get back to someone via text, via email, via Instagram,
Mhm.
via Messenger.
Mhm.
So I knew right there I could gain just half of the business by
Yeah.
responding,
Yeah.
or just respect by
Mhm.
giving someone the courtesy of a response.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. And customer service, as you said,
Customer
is
service.
so important. And there, and I there's so many companies that falter on that.
Absolutely.
And in my career, because I came from corporate as well, customer service and the customer experience was always something I was responsible for our products. And same thing, what are the expectations, and you want to guarantee a good customer experience. I teach customer service, and it's so missed because of simple things, like you said, response time, attention, friendliness, courtesy. Like that right there is how any company can stand out if you
Absolutely.
bring that effort.
I gain a customer just by responding to them.
Absolutely.
Whether I'm available or not,
Right.
they'll respond. Potential clients will respond to me. Thank you for getting back to me.
That's right.
I will think of you in the future.
Love it.
Or I'll go with you because no one else has responded to me.
Wow.
So even when I was even contemplating this whole idea, I was like, wow, people haven't responded to me in days. Either they are so inundated that they
Mhm.
can't respond to me, which is good,
Right.
or or they just don't have that customer service edge.
Yeah, and sometimes it's very simple. If they're really big and they haven't created that support for it, sometimes that's why. But the commitment to it is the first and most important thing, because without that commitment to that high level of customer service, it's not going to play out
Right.
as you grow.
Right. So I took that and then I said, my trucks are going to be extremely clean. I'm going to be very professional. I'm going to have a very polished edge to me, whether I'm serving, a 3-year-old, party, or,
A
a
corporate
corporate,
event.
a very high-end corporate event.
Yeah.
I'm going to treat all of my customers the same, and they are going to have a consistently happy and friendly experience, and they are going to walk away with a smile.
Yeah.
And as something as simple as ice cream
Yes.
is going to make them happy, and it's something for everyone of all ages.
Right.
It's nostalgic.
Right, for sure. And that's why when I say it's not just an ice cream truck, that's your brand.
Yes.
And that comes through. And we're definitely in the show notes going to share a link to Lisa's site and some pictures, but your whole brand persona, she looks very much the way she does right now, serving ice cream with a whole getup, and it's part of this persona, which I believe, and I feel it. People feel that when they experience. That's part of the whole experience. That's part of the customer experience. People want, and that's really like so important that a lot of companies, big and small,
Correct.
miss, because the customer. It's all about the customer experience. It's all about what they feel. That's why they come back. What they feel when they experience your product, service, what have you. And if they walk away feeling good with that encounter, they're going to be back.
Right. So, going back to, starting up.
Mhm.
So once, Enrique, said, okay, Lisa,
So
he's
your
like,
husband gave you the go.
he said, I believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you have the hard work. He's like, you don't have a business degree,
Mm-hmm.
But I believe in you.
Okay.
He's like, I don't know about the whole ice cream truck idea, but I believe in you. He's, and he's like, I know you're very determined. So Maria, what I did was I incorporated myself overnight. I
All
got
on your own?
all on my own. I incorporated myself. I got all of my insurances, everything that's needed for the state. I researched everything. The next day, I found a truck in Rockland County.
Wow.
I asked my dad to come with me. I didn't even tell him. I said, Dad, let's get our mechanic. I said, come with me. He goes, where are we going? I said, we're going to look at a truck. What are you getting a truck for?
Yeah.
Dad, come with me. So we go see this hollowed out old UPS truck. The mechanic looks at it, he goes, it's an old truck, but the guts of it are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing worked. The dashboard didn't work. I didn't know how fast I was going. We didn't know mileage, anything,
Oh
how
my
much gas was in
goodness.
it, nothing. So our mechanic says, you know what, Lisa, if you want to buy it, I don't know what you're going to do with it, but for what they were asking
It's fair.
$10,000.
Okay.
It's a big truck, Lisa. I know. So my dad and I are sitting in the truck, and my dad goes, "Can I ask, what are you going to do with this?" I said, "You're looking at the next Sweet Ice Queen." He goes, "What?" I said, "Dad, I'm going to turn this into an ice cream truck."
Oh my goodness.
He goes, "Okay." I said, and my dad goes, "There's only one problem." I said, "What?" He goes, "You've never driven a truck like this before,
Oh, true.
right?" I said, "I know." And he goes, "Well, there's only one way to find out." He goes, "Put the key in and let's start it up."
I love it.
And he goes, "Let's go. Let's pay the guy and get out of here."
Did you drive
And
it that day?
that day, I drove it. I went on the Palisades Parkway. I got pulled over by a cop because it was a commercial vehicle.
Oh,
No commercial
Not allowed on
vehicles
Parkway.
on the
That's
parkway.
right. Anybody
I
who,
had-
I don't
I
know if
had-
that's the same.
I had
anywhere
heels
else.
on. The cop pulls me over. He goes, "Can I ask you what you're doing?" I said, "You're looking at the next Sweet Ice Queen." He goes, "Where are you trying to go?" I said, "Wayne." He goes, "I'll give you a police escort to get you out the
No.
Yes. Yes.
I love it.
And I
You
made
got
it
off the
home.
Parkway.
And I made it home, and the rest was history. So I
Wow.
had $10,000 to play with. So I did the whole interior by myself. I painted it. I put the freezers in. I got the truck painted. I did the whole logo by myself. My friend's husband, he does some sketching on the side. I had asked her. I said, "Do you think maybe Paul could, sketch something?" Paul said to me, "Lisa, I'm not an artist." He sketched my logo in 10 minutes. I looked at it. I go, "Paul, that's exactly what I want." I said, "Just put some bows on the shoes." And we did that.
Love
I
it.
sent it online. I got the logos made. And then I actually did all the decaling myself to save myself money. And
So really bootstrappy.
I absolutely did. I made that money go. I stretched it the whole way. And then I had to research, distributors.
Right.
And
And where to
then
get your products.
then I
and
had to
all
get
of that.
and then I had to get my name out there.
Mhm.
And social media, when used for good,
Yeah.
really benefited me.
Hmm.
Everything was through Facebook
Yep.
that really helped me, and by word of mouth. I started at my church giving ice cream away and for free. And my husband came to me. He says, "I just want to let you know this isn't a hobby."
Yeah.
And I said, "I'm very well aware of that. Just,
You didn't think it was a hobby. though,
yes." I
right?
said, "Just let me do my thing."
Right.
And sometimes in order to make money, you need to spend money. And after 4 months, I was able to give my husband the $20,000 back.
Wow. That's
And
amazing. 4 months.
4 months. And
Congratulations.
yes,
Wow,
and
what a
that was
story.
in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, so it's 7 years now that you're in
and
business?
yes, at one
7
point I
years?
had 3 trucks. I have been approached about expanding many a times. And just, I'm really comfortable where we're at right now. It's just been working for my family.
So how has Enrique changed his tune? Obviously, you gave him the money back fairly quickly, but like in terms of his support, where has that moved? Because that's important for a lot of women, if to have that support, whether it's from their partner, whether it's from their family, if they're younger. Talk to me about that. How did he? Did you have to prove it to him, and then he was all good, or?
Yes, I did have to prove it. I had to prove it, and that's why I was extra careful when I did decide on what type of business I was going to sell on the ice cream truck, on a truck,
Mhm.
because going back, I knew that I had to do a truck, whatever I did decide to sell, because I was not in a financial position to invest in a brick and mortar,
Yeah.
that I was going to have to be paying rent.
Yeah.
So I knew a mobile truck was going to be the avenue I was going to go down,
Absolutely.
because I was going to be able to relocate
Yeah.
if things weren't working out.
Right.
Um,
And it's less overhead
it's less
and
overhead.
less risk. And
It was less risk, and at the same time, if it didn't work out, I could sell the truck.
yeah, right.
Where brick and mortar, I was I just was not in that financial position, and so then I said when I was going to determine what I was going to sell, I had the idea of the ice cream with my son, and then I said, okay, I got to make sure this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, this does make sense profit wise.
Mm-hmm.
The profit margin on ice cream is extremely high. And also, um, if I didn't sell the ice cream at an event, it still did not go bad.
Yeah.
It still was frozen,
Mm-hmm.
and I still did not lose inventory. And
Right.
if I didn't lose inventory, I didn't lose money.
You're okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a really big sell for me as well with the whole business plan.
So it's what I love about it is that you had this idea and you were really methodical in doing that business plan and doing the research and doing the due diligence so that you had the data to be able to move forward. Yes, you had this vision, right? It's apparent the way you're
Right.
describing it, but you did the due diligence to make sure that it made sense, that you could support it, that the way you went was going to be smart. So I love that because sometimes what happens is we have this vision and then there's not a lot of structure to the plan or not a lot of due diligence to make sure it makes sense and look at it from all different ways. And I love that you did that because I think that was part of why you succeeded so quickly.
I really, because I don't have a business background,
Mhm.
I am not business savvy. Um, a lot had to do with I just couldn't fail. I just couldn't fail, so I had to actually make it
You had to make
fail
it.
proof.
Oh.
And I knew
Mhm.
that a lot was riding in that investment
Mhm.
from our joint account.
Right. So, what's interesting is that I think a lot of people, it's the same scenario, and I appreciate how much thought you put into how to present it, to how to make sure that it was gonna succeed, to make sure that you had kind of that due diligence done to make sure it didn't fail. But I think even if the investor is not your husband, right? That's a wise thing from a business perspective to do because there is a lot riding on that investment. In my business, when I started my business is me. I'm service based. So I didn't have a lot of overhead. So um, I didn't need to take funding because I self-funded it. It was like what did I need? Some equipment. And now, of course, there's a lot of investment in the next phase of my business, a lot of staff and lots more overhead and offices and things like that. But I think no matter who you're getting the money from, that's a critical point. And the steps that you took to ensure that the plan made sense is a really important thing. And even big businesses, could look at that because many times I work with a lot of big companies that there's not a lot of planning. It's really ready, aim. It's not ready, aim, shoot. It's like shoot, ready, aim. Like,
Yes.
after the fact, you're like, ooh, maybe we should have thought of this, or ooh, we didn't anticipate that. So I think that's really admirable and admirable, and that you really had the sense to do that, like you said, without the business degree. But I'm getting from you it was that you had to prove it. You couldn't fail, and it was that
Right.
determination.
I just couldn't. And then even, with the step van, it was a large truck.
Yeah,
Um, it was having a lot of problems.
yeah, mechanical problems.
Mechanical problems. I was being booked out more than I actually anticipated. People were leaving me deposits, and I was having a lot of stress because if your ice cream truck breaks down and you have 4 parties on a day,
Oh yeah, what do you
what
do?
do you do? I was in a position that my transmission went. Well, your transmission goes, your truck is in commission for or out of commission for days. I was hiring other ice cream trucks to do my parties, and I was showing up with the other ice cream truck and standing there and comping the parties because that's the type of person that I am. They hired me. My truck didn't come because it was in the shop.
Right.
And like I had to do that for like, a week and a half.
Wow.
And then finally I said to Enrique, I said, I need to buy another truck. He said, absolutely not. I said, well, my truck is breaking down.
You need a backup.
I need a backup. I said, well, what happens now? Like the hardest part I found was over. My name is out there.
So now this is the next barrier, the barrier to growth.
Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm booked. I'm booked, the whole entire summer. And I'm stressed out because my vehicle is tied up in the shop.
So what did you do?
So I said, so what'll happen? He goes, well, then the Sweet Ice Queen has to close her doors.
No, Enrique.
So then I said, well, that can't happen. The hardest part in getting my name out there is over. So Joe, that's my dad. So I talked to Joe. I said, Dad, I'm in a situation. I said, this truck, it's giving me problems and, things are going. And again, you're talking in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
There's not you really can't find a lot of parts anymore for a 1993.
Right, it was an old truck.
Who my mechanic, I don't know what to do. And he goes, well, what did your husband say? Who my husband, my dad is a huge fan of my husband.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, well, what did your husband say? I said, well, he said the Sweet Ice Queen doors are closed. And he goes, that ain't happening.
I love it.
And he goes, we're going to go.
Joe.
Yes. He goes, we're going down and getting you a truck. So we went down. I started shopping around. And then I said, again, I didn't know what I can qualify for because this was, a
New business.
Right. So my dad came with me and I qualified on my own.
Wow.
And I got my next truck, who I named her Joey the girl, after my dad.
After your dad.
And again, I knew that I could grow this business.
Yeah.
And my husband was coming up the street and I was going down the street and he calls me. He goes, did you just get a new ice cream truck? I said, yes, I did. And he goes, okay, Lisa. And he goes, I'm going to stay out of your kitchen. He goes, you work on your business. And he goes, you know what? You're doing good on your own. He goes, you don't,
yeah,
I'll just let you do you. And it's been great. So both, I had both trucks going. Then I added a third. And
what I love about, and I want to highlight what you said. You had said that your dad raised you both, your brother and you, equally, right? You were a tomboy. There was no like, okay, he cuts the lawn, you don't do that. This gender difference, right? There was that toughness and there was that belief. And listen, I know Enrique, love Enrique. There's no talking bad about anybody who doesn't believe or anybody's husband, because that's a reality. It could be anybody in your life. I have friends that thought I was crazy. I came out 20 years of the corporate world. I was like, what am I going to do? Same deal. I'm not going to go make half what I was making. I had already decided to start my own business when I was working my corporate job and then lost my job. So it's like, okay, it's go time now.
Right.
But a lot of people thought I was crazy. And I didn't come from that. My family were not entrepreneurs.
Right.
That was not it. So I get that. It doesn't matter who you are. There's always somebody who's going to doubt it and somebody that you have to get their support. So what I love about it is that your dad was really rooting for you. Still respectful, obviously. Your husband is your husband. It's part of your family.
Absolutely.
You're taking your family savings to invest in a business. It's a critical point that can't be ignored. But I love that you had those two male presences that ended up being able to launch you into where you are.
Absolutely.
And help you in that next level. Like, I would agree with you. I like to bring that out because even big companies, that next level of growth to maintain what you've started and maintain the quality and bring it to that next level and scale it is so difficult. That's a huge barrier. And finding a way like you did
Yeah.
and not giving up,
Oh, I just, I
huge.
would not surrender. I would not surrender. And even like Enrique, like literally, in this summer, and when it is in season, when I am in season, when we pull in the driveway, I have my friends that help me. He's the first one to open up the garage door, to be scrubbing the trucks,
Mhm.
to be taking the buckets out, to be, helping on
So
the
he was
freezers.
hands on deck as
He
well.
is absolutely,
Yep.
like he has always been.
Yep.
He is a worker. And Maria, if he came to me with my idea, Lisa, I think I'm gonna,
You probably would have said the same thing.
I would have said this. I would have said the same thing if we had maybe $20,000 in the bank. I would probably say, now's not a good time for us to be playing around with
Yeah,
money.
that's what my family would have
Yeah,
said.
him being the breadwinner at the time, but he has always been there to clean the truck. Still to this day, what do you need to do? I have a few hours. You need me to sort the freezers, because it is a lot of grit work.
Sure. And you're small, right? It's you and your family, and then you hire people
yes,
to
and,
help you at
right.
events.
So it's going down to Patterson,
Yep.
every day, loading the trucks. Sometimes
getting the ice cream, and
getting the ice cream, cleaning the trucks, dealing with a lot of things. Ice cream, it melts. You have to be on top of it sanitary wise.
Mm-hmm. You have all the health codes that you have to buy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do big events for like 5,000 people.
Yeah.
That's managing 5,000 pieces of ice cream. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have enough freezers? Do we have enough, inventory?
Yeah.
Or doing late night events, a lot of the corporate, I cater to a lot of, the corporate hours. They have night shifts.
Yep.
That a lot of times, their night shift gets, neglected.
Right.
In the sense
They're like
that
an afterthought.
yes. So, they'll say, listen, can you come back and do a night shift?
Mm.
And I'm like, yes, I will come back at 1:00. Who's on the truck with me? My husband.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of behind the scenes that, people may like the idea or say, oh, as we were saying about perception. Oh, yes, she's the ice cream lady. Like, oh, how nice. This is your nice little job. You're serving a SpongeBob or you're serving a strawberry shortcake. That's the easy part.
Right.
The hard part is, doing all the behind the scenes. And, there's a lot of grit that goes into it. And people may want the idea of starting
Like the
a company.
Right.
But there's so much that goes into it.
Right.
That people underestimate.
Oh, for sure. And I also think not only people going into it underestimate, but externally people underestimate it too. Because like you said, it's people see, like the tip of the iceberg, right? But they don't see what's underneath the water. They don't see all the things that happen every day, all the ups, all the downs, all the challenges, all the things that you encounter that you've got to pivot and adapt, all the grit, as you said. And it's interesting because a lot of people going into a business will think that, but also outside world kind of looking in, the ice cream lady, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, look, she just goes around and sells ice cream. Yeah, no, like
even also now, what's wonderful is I'm able to, my small little business. Now I'm able to give back.
Yeah, and that's the thing I definitely wanted to hit because I know that's part of your mission.
Absolutely.
And part of your brand is giving back. Talk to us about that. How do you do that?
Well, what I was going to say is about my son. He had said to me last year, he goes, Mom, he goes, do you get bothered when, people say that, oh, you're just an ice cream lady? And because he, had picked up on that, on one of my exchanges. And I had said to him, I said, Tommy, I said, nothing really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because I know who I am
Yeah.
and I let people think what they want. If people want to think of me as just an ice cream lady, that's fine.
Right.
Or, if think of me as, it's like a joke, that's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to allow what anyone thinks of me to
Impact you.
affect
Uh-huh.
or lose focus.
Yeah, love it. And that's critical.
I'm at the place in my life
Mm-hmm.
where that's just noise.
Yep.
That's just noise.
That's beautiful. And the thing is so important that you're able to check into that
Oh,
because it is
1000%.
and people used to
1000%.
say to me, "Oh, you'll see when you get older, you don't really give a crap what people think." And I'm like, "Really?" And really truly, like staying true to
Oh,
yourself
it's
and not worrying about like other people's perceptions are none of your business or other people's opinions
yeah,
are none of your business. Really leading with that is so important.
it's okay. Or someone say, "Oh, that's so cute. You're a
Yeah.
little ice cream lady." I'm like, "Yes," and like I just keep
Just
like
yeah.
you just can't get distracted by
Mm-mm,
noise.
mm-mm.
So
That's a good way to put it.
it really. So I just said to him, I said, Tommy, nothing that anybody could say to me could really hurt me. Like really,
Yeah,
really.
that's great.
And I wanted him to know if it bothered him, like it does, like don't let it bother you because it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, because that's the
Like
age where
because
they
you know
tend
what,
to be.
right? Because you know what, I could say that I carry myself um and treat others the way that I would want to be treated, and that's as a person and as a businesswoman.
Yep. No, that's
Yeah.
great. That's the
Yes.
golden rule. Love
Yes.
that.
So with going with sharing, I'm
Mm-hmm.
at the point
Giving back.
now
Yeah.
that I can give back
Yeah.
because Maria, this is a luxury item.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone,
Right.
right?
Right.
It is a luxury item to have an ice cream truck come, to a party, to someone's house, to a wedding, to a corporate event,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the same time, I'm able to give back. I never forget where I came from.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to come back to Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to come back and visit the schools,
Mm-hmm.
and donate some ice cream. I love everything about Garfield. It made me who I am.
Right.
Um, I'm able to go visit a lot of hospitals. Able to tap into donating ice cream to
Mm-hmm.
certain organizations.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, is my family. I call them my family. CTC Academy. They are my Earth Angels. I just had the opportunity of seeing them yesterday. They have campuses on in Fairlawn
Mm-hmm.
and in Oakland,
And they provide education
and services
services for
for children that were born with just
disabilities,
special
special needs.
needs,
Okay.
and they are just earth angels. That's the only way I could describe. And the people that care for them are just God sent.
The caretakers, yeah.
Yes, their caretakers are God sent. Their campuses are beautiful, and they do extraordinary things. So if anyone listening ever has an opportunity to give or donate, please just visit CTC Academies on the website, because they do extraordinary things and just
Yeah,
they're
so
amazing.
I love that you have that mission and that commitment. And there are a lot of business owners that entrepreneurs that go into it with wanting to and end up really living out what the give back is, what the purpose is, and that is part of the vision and the purpose. And it's, I think, something that not everybody does, But I think the ones who do, it ends up being not only more fulfilling for them and for the people who work for that company that you're building, but also part of the entire experience as a customer to know that this company does good. Because lots of people now, and I'm one of them, conscious consumerism. They want companies that are doing good, that are
Absolutely.
giving
Yeah.
back. It's a lot of the workforce coming up, the younger generation wants to feel like they're doing meaningful work, that what they're doing is not just making money and making someone wealthy, it's giving back to something, some part of the mission. And I would say that if you wrote your mission statement or if you have one, that's likely one of yours, because, or one of the points in it, because you saw that. You saw that as part of what you wanted to provide. And even just in what you do of bringing somebody a smile, it's just kind of intrinsic to your whole business.
And you know what's also amazing, what has been amazing, what this little truck, has brought me is such amazing relationships.
Yes.
I have met and maintained such amazing relationships with my clients that are now friends.
hmm
I I get such great connections, and it's majority of my business is repeat business.
Yeah.
So I have developed such relationships
hmm
that I feel like family.
Yeah.
Um, and I've met so many wonderful people. Like, it sometimes just amazes me. So at like CTC Academy, like, I feel like family there. They know me by first name. Like, I want to do so much. I want to do so much more. Like, during my season and even like my off season, like, I want to donate a bubble machine. Like, I say, please let me know if I could do something.
Yeah.
And when I was there yesterday, I was just, I got a reaction from this one boy, how excited he was. And out of the 100 clients that are there, there's only a handful that could really have ice cream, which is the most ironic part. Is these earth angels are just so happy just to see the pink ice cream truck. And it is just amazing just to see their smiles just from this pink truck.
And that really speaks to the experience.
The experience. And when I did this years ago, it was like an aha moment to me. And I looked and I saw how many ice cream I handed out, and I was like, I could do so much with this truck to bring smiles. Years ago, I had, posted something on Facebook. I said, if there's someone that is in, need of a pick me up, whether it be a child or someone, please privately inbox me. No questions asked, just give me the address. So someone had inboxed me. Someone was, terminally ill. And I had gone to this person's house, and it was a family, and the woman was terminally ill with breast cancer. And I did a short visit, and she came to the truck and she said to me, how thankful she was for me stopping by. And she said, Lisa, she goes, for a second, I forgot how sick I was after seeing your truck and getting an ice cream.
What a beautiful story.
And that has stuck with me.
Yeah.
Like, how just in general, like, people just could forget whatever is going on, just for a second. And if I could deliver that, like, if an ice cream could do that, or just for a minute, like, to someone that is in such a compromising and vulnerable position, I was like,
that spirit comes through in your brand. I mean, I'm, as I said, that spirit comes through. And I think that, that companies that and businesses that do that, that's why, because people feel that.
I guess,
People
yeah.
feel that. It's like, so ice cream, meh, bring smiles and make people feel joy. Like, okay.
Yeah, like, it just, it's like, wow, this is more than a truck for me.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just
Absolutely. I love that. I have a question for you in terms of if you've ever been treated differently because you're a woman in terms of getting taken seriously in any of your interactions, getting respect at the level that you had hoped. Just shares a lot of that. That's a common thread with a lot of people that have walked this path. What has been your experience, and have you ever experienced that? Somebody doubting your ability or not taking you as seriously as a woman?
I actually haven't experienced it gender-wise.
Okay.
I think I've experienced it more being a little softer.
Okay.
Initially,
Hmm.
I'm softer. I attribute that to my mom.
Your mom's side.
My
Yeah.
mom's side. I come out soft.
Hmm.
And then when I see I'm not getting somewhere, then I have to become more aggressive. So I don't know if it's I would take it as a gender a
Okay.
a gender reason. I think it's more my delivery, if that can make
Yeah, it
sense.
does. It does. And so, would then how you say you've handled that is then you show them
I just
another
become
side.
I just I try handling things very like softly and respectfully, and then when I feel like I'm not getting anywhere, then I become very, very assertive, and I think people don't expect that.
Yeah. Yeah. Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a common thing. A lot of people's reactions sometimes to a woman who they perceive is soft. And maybe it's not gender for you. I don't want to characterize it that way, but like just somebody who's soft or can be a pushover
Right,
or
right.
whatever.
And then maybe I could be labeled as something.
Right,
When I
right. Well, that was my next question.
right, you know?
So, have you ever been labeled in a negative way that wasn't true to you? And how did you handle that?
Not to my face.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Not to my face.
Well, you did say that you don't take in what other people think. So maybe you
Yeah.
don't pay attention to it.
I guess, Marie, I guess you're right.
You don't.
I don't think anyone I don't I can't recall where I've ever allowed someone to get the best of me,
That's great.
that I've had a confrontation that it would get to that point.
So that's amazing because a lot of women, myself included, I think, have you try not to care, but judge. People
Right.
judge and label
Right.
people. That's just a human condition, unfortunately,
Right.
right? So it really is that resilience to not let it impact you negatively. And, a lot of women, I think myself included, oh, she's too much. She's bossy. She's this. She's too aggressive. She's that. And that's a negative connotation. And to be honest, sometimes that, whatever it is, yours is your gift as you are soft. That's part of your gift.
Right.
So it shouldn't be looked at as negative because that's your superpower,
Right.
right? That's your superpower. So it's really about you being able to flip that
Right. I
and not
have
let
been
it
in a
impact
lot
you.
of situations where people try and negotiate,
Hmm.
because they do think that, ice cream, the cost is minimal.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, can you just, waive this fee or waive that fee? And again, I have a soft approach,
Hmm.
but then I'm able to say, no, these are my fees,
Hmm.
and I'm able to, stand my
Stand
ground.
your ground.
Right. I'm able to, to stand my ground, because it is a luxury item.
So do you think that's the perception that people, because you come off soft, think that they're
Absolutely.
going to be able to?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Love that you have that awareness about
Right.
that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
very interesting, and that's one thing. Like, there's good and bad, and I've definitely encountered that myself, right? There's good and bad to the relationships or meeting lots of different people, because sometimes people characterize you in one way and then they think they can get over. Um,
And
right?
a lot of people, I've let get over on me.
Mm-hmm. Because of the soft side.
Be, I
Too
let the
nice.
yes, I've let them get over on me, but I'm very aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've let them get over on me, or I just want them to, walk away with a positive experience. I want to satisfy the customer, but um, I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
It's more, I want the customer to be happy, but they did not take advantage of me.
Yes.
I was just making sure that they, walked away a happy customer.
Yep.
There's a difference in that.
Yeah, because you can say no without saying no.
Right.
Right? It's
Right.
all about the customer
Right.
approach, the
Right.
customer service approach. So you talked a little bit about how you got your first investment, and now you paid that back very
Yes.
quickly. And what's your vision for your next level of growth? Do you have one, or are you good where you are right now? And have you thought about that, if that could change?
Well, if the saying, if like you're too comfortable where you are, that's not good.
That's true.
Um, I'm always looking. I really would like growth. Um,
In what way?
I really would like more trucks.
To expand
I
more?
really do want to expand more. I have tried different things. I've tried shakes. I know shakes are
Hmm.
hot things.
Oh, so different
Yeah,
products.
I know. Well, I've tried, what's trendy.
Hmm.
I've always come back to what works is what's simple.
Yeah.
I really believe in that. Soft serve is always going to be a good seller. People love soft serve, me
Yes.
included. I love soft
Yes.
serve. But I will never do soft serve. It's the machines; they're a lot of work.
Yeah.
Keeping them clean.
Yep.
But I do love soft serve. The scooped ice cream I have, it's some of the best that there is.
Hmm.
Gifford's ice cream. So I will keep. I plan to keep everything the way I have it, but I really would like to expand with more trucks, and maybe go Central Jersey. You
Hmm.
know, just
Love it.
I would really, really love to do that. Um,
Yeah. Me.
it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
It really, really, I could say it's been fun.
Well, I would love to see your trucks more throughout the state. So
Yes.
let's put that out there. And
Yes.
I think that, what you hit on and what I really like to highlight, it's a lot of what I teach in my business program, is really understanding how to expand your reach is how you scale, right? And I think the infrastructure that you have is so solid, right? Because you have that mission, you have that intention. And I don't doubt for a minute that as you get to that next level, you've done it already in one phase of growth, that you'll bring that along. That's so important. But it's really thinking about how you could expand your reach, whether it's through more trucks, whether it's different locations, and how to do that and maintain that same experience.
Yeah. Which I will never compromise on that.
Well, that's good.
And that's why I'm very selective on who I have helping me. I will never compromise on that. I
Yeah.
have a certain expectation on
Yes.
how I want everybody
Yes.
treated.
Yes.
And
Yeah, maintaining that quality
I
is definitely has to be prior. In order to maintain that quality, that has
right,
to
and
be paramount.
that's even with the product itself.
Mhm.
Everyone, that walks away from the truck, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you give so much ice cream." I'm like, I would rather you walk away from the truck saying I gave you too much ice cream than not enough.
Exactly.
I want you to say, wow, that was worth it. Wow.
Mhm.
I don't want you to walk away saying, wow, that's all she gave. Like,
Mhm.
I want you to be wowed. I want you to, I want you to feel like I want you to feel important. I want you just to enjoy your ice cream. I know it sounds so simple and so easy, but I just want a good experience. And like when people see like my truck on the road, I get so many like beeps and like
Yes.
like smiles, and I'm like, I just want to spread joy. I
Yes.
just
Well,
think
you
that
do that.
I just think there's not enough of it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if that little truck could do it,
Yeah.
like I just think, I know it sounds like, like so, so unicorn, but
No, but it's simple in a lot of ways, but it really holds the tenets of what creates that good
right.
feeling,
And
right?
the icing on the cake is that, my husband has come to me several times. He's like, Lee, I'm so proud of you.
Uh,
He's like, you really made this very lucrative.
yeah.
Like,
I'll show you. You
yes.
did.
He's like, wow, like I'm shocked that like this really
I
worked.
I love that. I love how determined you were and how you turned him around. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's important for people to keep in mind if they have something and they're hesitant that they want to put out there and
And
they're
I
hesitant.
always say this, I always say this. I say this to my kids. I say this to myself. I just gave a lecture, to
Yes, at
a
the
group of,
school,
yes, to
all girls school, right?
yeah, to the girls at Mount St. Dominic. I said, you can't score if you don't shoot. I'm like,
Yes.
if you believe in something
Yeah.
and it's something that's good for you,
Hmm.
I'm like, you gotta try. What's the most that could happen? Like my dad said, if I was so afraid to drive a truck, like, okay, I never drove a truck before. Put the key in it.
Yeah.
Start it.
Yeah.
What happens if I
Take the
didn't?
first step.
Right. What happens if I didn't do that? What happens if I
That's
said, you know
right.
what, Dad?
I'm afraid I
Right.
can't drive a truck.
Right.
What if you let that?
It's
Hmm.
like, you got to give it a try.
Yeah.
And what's the most that could happen?
Yeah.
I say I did it
Right.
and I failed.
Right.
What's the most that could happen?
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this interview. I always end the One Tough Chick interview with some questions to pull out lessons learned and some takeaways for people
Okay.
listening and watching. So, and if you don't have an answer to this, totally fine. But if you think about your whole journey, your experience being becoming an entrepreneur, was there one mistake you made? What was it? And what would you do differently?
It's a good question, Maria.
If you don't have one, that's okay. Doesn't come to mind.
Well, I can't say that I would do something differently
Okay.
because out of my mistakes, I was able to learn something.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Because, okay, going back to the transmission, right? And, having to rent, ice, the ice cream lady was renting ice cream trucks to do her job. Um, I was able to discover the world of scooping ice cream where I wasn't scooping ice cream before.
Right.
I was able to see that I was able to see something that gave me, oh my gosh, I could start scooping ice cream on my truck. And this
Mm-hmm.
is how,
Mm-hmm.
because I picked up on something.
Mm-hmm.
And then also through my truck having mechanical issues that I was dealing with, I was able to add trucks.
Yes.
So that really, the mechanical issues were things that were problems, not mistakes, but they led me to bigger and better things.
So I love that you answered the question that way. And I didn't know what you were going to say, but part of this podcast and the reason what I believe in and why I started finding the upside is always finding an upside and always dealing with disruption or things that look like obstacles and finding opportunity. And you just nailed it right there with what you stated. And I would agree that the challenges you come against in your business and operating that business or building that business are not mistakes, are not, things to do differently. It's how you handle it. What did you learn from that or gain from that? And you really could apply that to life as well, right?
Yes.
it's all part of the journey that leads you to the next step. So I love that that was your answer.
Yes.
What's the best piece of advice that you followed?
Can I give two?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The best piece of advice that I could give, well, there's two, like I said. One is, and I practice this myself, and I always relay this to my kids, is always surround yourself with things and people that make you feel good.
Mm.
Because when they make you feel good, they'll want good for you. And if there are things that make you feel good, those are good things for you.
Mm.
If they make you feel bad, then you have to limit those things or those people.
And set boundaries. Yeah.
I practice that because even Maria, when we walk away from each other today, whether we were friends or we just happened to meet each other in the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
I would want you to walk away and be like, wow, she was nice. Like, whether that be an exchange of a smile
Mm-hmm.
or I want to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
Or if my friends call me, I want to make them better than when
Mm-hmm.
they called me
Mm-hmm.
because I want you to be that person to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my
Your
first piece of advice, personally and professionally.
Okay.
Just like when you leave my truck, I want you to be better than when you came.
Yeah.
My second piece of advice that, again, is both professionally and business-wise, is always stay calm.
Great advice.
When you're not calm, you could really damage a lot
Yes.
by reacting to a client, reacting to a customer, overreacting to something, making an impulsive remark, reacting verbally, physically, and you could destroy something
Right.
in a minute.
So having the ability to stay
Yes.
calm, control of your emotions.
Controlling, and you also, when you overreact to something, you could destroy your business
Mm-hmm.
in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's not worth it.
when you're calm,
Yeah.
and you take a step back, you could be like, okay, like, let's figure this out
Right.
and let's decide what we're going to do next.
Excellent. Love that. So did you get any, what was the worst piece of advice that you received on starting or running your business, whether you listened to it or not? Did you get any of those tidbits?
Yes. An ice cream truck, it's a joke.
Okay. And you didn't listen.
And I
Thank
didn't
goodness.
listen.
Thank goodness. So maybe you said this already, but I'm going to ask the question and see if you have a slightly different answer. What's the number one piece of advice that you would give to someone who is working on building or growing their business?
Have a plan.
Love that.
Have a plan. I think a lot of people go into something, they have a vision
Mm-hmm.
and not a realistic plan.
Yes, I would agree. Great advice. All right, so I always like to end this interview with this one question. I ask everyone what I call my life lesson. Can you complete this sentence? My biggest life lesson is...
To leave this world with a mark of a better place, to say, wow, Lisa Emeric, she just was a nice person. Like,
have a good impact.
I just want to spread myself to where I'm a helper. I want to help. I want people to be happy, and I want to make a difference.
I love that. And I think the more people that take that on as have impact in this world in a positive way, the better we'll be.
Yeah, we
So
only go
more
around
power
one.
to that.
I say this, we only go around once,
Right.
and I'm doing it right.
Oh, love
I
that.
do. I want my kids happy and healthy, and I don't take that for granted. And I really try every day just to really just do good. Some days are harder than others,
Sure.
and
Of course.
we're all human. But I choose to just try and spread my goodness, because we really do. We need happier people. We need kinder people.
Hmm.
And I just want to be surrounded by goodness too.
Great advice in a world where you could be anything, be kind.
It's true.
Well, thank you so much for joining me
Maria, I
today.
enjoyed this.
This has been a blast. Thank you so much. I hope you all have enjoyed this episode of Finding the Upside, my special series, One Tough Chick. And I hope you've enjoyed this interview with Lisa. Lisa, thank you so much.
You're a tough chick too, Maria.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
See you next time on the next episode of Finding the Upside. Bye for now.